Okay, this video is primarily meant for leaders. You probably have heard the terms headquarters or TOC. Wonder what it is, how should you set it up? Headquarters, obviously, is what it is. TOC is Tactical Operations Center, essentially a fancy word for headquarters. Now, a guerrilla unit does not need to be as big, grandiose, laid out like a conventional military. Conventional military, you'll have a briefing area which is connected to the headquarters or nearby it. You have the actual headquarters itself where all the operations are planned, and you might even have separate locations inside that headquarters for each cell or each section. Your S1 personnel, S2 intel, S3 operations, S4 logistics, S5 your public relations. And then you also have your G levels, which is division and above. But really, with a small guerrilla unit or militia unit, you can compact that all down. Put it inside one tent, one bunker, really easily. Now I have here, we're going to say that we built a dugout. We're in summertime. We're going to locate this in a location where it's out of view of the enemy, even potential air assets like drones. So we'll try to locate it somewhere, say in a tree line. We dig down far enough where, say, at least our chest is below ground level. The entrance will be down here, and we'll have a little slanting trail coming in, steps, whatever we so choose, to come inside, and a narrow door to come through into the position. Now the spoil that we got from digging out, we berm it around the outside and camouflage it. And then over the top of this, we would use some type of tent canopy or tarp. String us a rope going across, A-frame the tarp going across, or more than one tarp. Maybe throw some camel netting on there. Now the general layout inside, we have an area set up for our RTO, so that's where the radios for the headquarters would be at, with the antennas located farther away. I had mentioned that in one of my original base camp videos. Locate the antenna for your radio as far away from your position as possible, because through radio direction finding, they will locate where that antenna is at, and they will plan a strike right on that location. I think I've mentioned in the past, under VCNVA ComSec, they would have a headquarters. Farther away, they would have their setup where the radio would be located, and then farther away from that would be the antenna. But we're simplifying here. We got our RTO here, and the antenna's on the other side of a hill. Maybe it's on another hill farther over. We have a landline going from here to where the actual radio is at, and then the radio to the antenna on another hill. So we get transmissions going out, but primarily that radio is meant for reports coming in. The RTO here would also have the field phones coming in from the platoons or the security positions, like your LPOPs, your gates, that type of stuff, and important areas around your perimeter, like ammo storage. Over here, we have another little area, which will be just a general, basically a desk area, something that's leveled out. So we could do, dig this down, leave a, little mound of dirt in here. We dig it down a few feet, and we use that as our desk. We'll do the same thing over here. Flatten it, compact it as much as possible so someone can use this as a workstation. They can write up messages, sit there, write up reports. Hey, if we got a typewriter that we need to use for some particular situation, have it set up over there. Back here would be our briefing area. Put it towards the rear of your headquarters so people that are out here may not hear it as easily. We have our little platform that we left there, like we were digging a U-shaped machine gun position. We got this dug down. We got this table here. Maybe on this table, we set up our sand table inside there. It's hidden underneath the tarp, cut down on the possibility of enemy's visual observation. One thing to think about, why I mentioned the berm, is sound. Sound can be deflected. If you got a barrier between you and the source of the sound, unless you're closer, you're not going to get it. You're not going to hear it. And remember, any enemy a guerrilla could face will have better technology, so they'll probably have directional mics, parabolic mics. They can swing that back and forth, checking an area. Well, if we do pretty good keeping the volume down in here during the meetings, we have our sound barrier here, which would be ideally up over the top of the heads of the people inside here, and a sufficient mass to also help with absorbing sound. Sound will hit the berm, be deflected up, deflected back. It'll mess it up, degrade it. So we got our little planning area in here, and it should be large enough that people can stand in here, work around here. And during unit meetings, you bring in the heads of different elements that you need. You know, hey, if anyone has chairs, bring it with them. They set them up around this, and this is our table where we can sit at, look at our reports, look at our maps, plan stuff out. When an operation is going to happen, you call in the appropriate leaders or the appropriate element. You conduct your briefings around this area too. Always remember, inside the headquarters area, remember your light discipline, remember your noise discipline. No yelling, no shouting. Keep your voice down, a dull roar. At most, normal level of speech, but try to talk a little bit quieter, but make sure everyone understands. Some things to think about. There are ways you can mitigate IR signature. People have brought that up. Well, one way that you could potentially do it, you get enough airspace between everyone in here and the tarp or whatever that's over the top. You get some airflow going through there over the top of this berm or through the entrance here. That helps mitigate your heat signature also, and it wouldn't hurt to use for the cover, the canopy for your headquarters here. Use a survival blanket. Has mylar on one side, more of a tarp type material on the other. Use that as your overhead cover. And then, hey, give yourself some space. Maybe about 2 feet, maybe 3 feet above that. Drape some camel netting over the whole thing. Hide it back in the trees. You cut down on locating your TOC from scanning from farther distance. You're mitigating your sound with the berm, plus your control of your volume. Things to think about. Now, if you're running just a platoon element, you're out there in a patrol base, wherever that platoon leader, patrol leader has his setup where he's racking out at, his foxhole, his tent, whatever it is, his lean-to, that becomes your headquarters. So in that situation, everything will be conducted right there. His briefing area is basically going to be a map on the ground, unless he can get a couple people to do a quick terrain model. Once again, make sure it's undercover so it cannot be seen by aerial observation or from observation from a farther distance away using a regular lens, some type of scope or camera. Have your radio operator, telephone operator there, your RTO, radio telephone operator. He's getting in the intel coming in. He's monitoring the messages and that stuff. When you got to make transmissions, move away from where the actual patrol leader is located and do the transmissions from there, preferably away from the perimeter if it's going to be a farther away distance or range for your transmission. You're just trying to mitigate things. All right, think of what the enemy's capabilities are or could be. Try to come up ways around it. This way here, we're cutting down our height by digging down into the ground. Berm helps deflect the noise and observation. Overhead cover cuts down on observation also and does help cut down on the noise leaking out also. Night times, no white lights. If you're doing any type of briefing in here at night, make sure to cover all areas around so no light leaks through, and only use red lens flashlights or red lens lights. No white lights. White light can be seen from miles away. Even in a forest, you'll see that light, and that'll tell you, hey, someone's over there. Things to think about for you leaders, all right? Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot Militia movements, always remember, essayons.